Battlestar Galactica. Some shows I like, other shows I love. This show is one that I love. The Sci-Fi Channel's reboot of the 70s cult classic managed to be a game-changing science fiction series. During its first season, Battlestar Galactica garnered both critical acclaim and a loyal fan base on the internet. Now with this series you have a rare combination of great acting, compelling storylines, and strong ideas. All of this added up to one hell of a TV series. Now that BSG, as its fans call it, is over, we can go back and examine how the series has constructed such an engaging story. So, give me just a few minutes of your time, and let's go back and take a look at Battlestar Galactica. Now, if you're watching this, I'm going to assume that you're familiar with the overall story of BSG. That humans created machines called CYLONS. CYLONS rebelled against their human creators, and eventually CYLONS evolved to a state where they can even pass for human beings. Now these human-looking CYLONS eventually bring about the destruction of mankind, leaving a small group of human survivors to wander the galaxy in search of a new home. But in order to understand how and why this show was so innovative, we have to understand how science fiction shows looked before Battlestar. Now, before it rebooted Battlestar Galactica, the Sci-Fi Channel was known for producing its own original TV series. Now, these shows weren't bad, but many of them could be kinda geeky and silly, and they wouldn't really appeal to anyone other than seasoned fans of science fiction fantasy. Now, when planning this show, however, creator Ronald D. Moore stressed the fact that he didn't want the show to be too cool for the room. BSG was going to be a show that both science fiction and non-science fiction fans could both enjoy. Now, in designing the look of BSG, instead of following the trends of other recent sci-fi series, the show's creators modeled the series after the Hollywood war film. Many of the storylines in BSG are built around the personal lives and conflicts of the soldiers and pilots who fight for the survival of humanity. Some of these military characters include a foul-mouthed pilot named Kara Thrace, who is nicknamed Starbuck, and an idealistic young soldier, Lee Adama, who is nicknamed Apollo. Of course, there's also William Adama, the commander of the Galactica Space Fleet, who acts as a both literal and figurative father to both Lee and Kara. So rather than focusing on ordinary civilians, BSG's story is built around those who fight and kill to keep humanity safe. This idea is supplemented by the show's look. In addition to the show's spectacular space battles, many of the scenes are built around the interiors of the metal ship called Galactica. So this is a claustrophobic series that directs our attention to what is happening inside its settings and not the vast universe outside. So this would not be the optimistic show about exploring alien worlds and going where no man has gone before. BSG would be a downbeat, claustrophobic series, one that focused on the darker side of humanity. Because these Cylon machines can pass for human, there is an undercurrent of paranoia all throughout this series. Both the show's characters and the audience are unaware of just who in this series is human and who is a Cylon. This adds a real psychological dimension to the events in BSG. Nowhere is this idea more evident than in the relationship between two characters, a scientist named Gaius Baltar and a Cylon female named Caprica 6. Now the two characters have a complicated relationship. It's complicated because Caprica 6 is never physically present in Galactica. She is more like a ghost who appears to both haunt and advise Baltar, and is only visible to him and the audience. In fact, several episodes of BSG take place inside the mind of Gaius Baltar, and we're never quite sure if a man is sane or insane, or even if he's human, or just another Cylon copy. This secondary layer of the story asks the question that runs throughout BSG. That question is, what is real? What is human? Is Caprica 6 real? Is Baltar a Cylon? Is the world inside Baltar's head any more or less real than the world outside his head? And if Cylons can think, feel, and love, just as Caprica 6 loved Baltar, then is there any difference between humans and their non-human copies? For those who think that BSG is just another action series, they should consider the many religious themes that run throughout the series. Both humans and Cylons have a belief in a higher power, and much of the series will reflect questions over religion, faith, and God. For starters, after the destruction of the 12 colonies, humanity's search for the planet Earth does resemble the search for the Promised Land undertaken by Moses and the 12 tribes of Israel. Here, the character of President Laura Roslin can be seen as a Moses-like figure whose prophetic visions help uncover the pathway to Earth. Now, just like their human creators, Cylons have a complex belief system as well. As opposed to humans, who in BSG believe in multiple gods, the Cylons believe in just one God, one true God. Much of their belief is based around the fact that Cylons cannot die, at least not in the way humans can die. When a Cylon body dies, their memories and consciousness are downloaded into a new model of that same body. For lack of a better word, they reincarnate, with their mind born into a new adult body. These ideas of reincarnation are very similar to both Hindu and Buddhist beliefs of the cycle of birth and rebirth. So these conflicting spiritual belief systems do echo many of the religious conflicts the world faces today. In this respect, BSG becomes a dark reflection, a reflection of post 9/11 life, in a world where religion is used to justify any number of atrocities. Well, Battlestar Galactica is such a complex, intricate series. I feel I've only scratched the surface of all the different ideas on the show. It's really something worth watching, and if you've already seen it, I think it's a show worth watching a second time. Thanks for listening. Please post comments below and subscribe to my channel.